All right, so we are here with Sarah Klein. Sarah, good morning. How are you feeling? This is day one post the marathon yesterday.
Yeah.
How's the body feeling? How's the mind feeling?
The body's feeling pretty good. I've been out for a jog this morning, actually. In fact, it probably wasn't even a jog. It was more of a shuffle. But I was, my body feels all right. Like, I'm sore. I'll lose a couple of toenails, I think. But otherwise, I think I'm pulled up pretty good.
Is that like the most common non-talked about, injury from a marathon? Just the toenail loose?
I reckon, yeah, maybe. Mine are, I could go into detail, but I don't want to gross people out. But you basically, I get blisters underneath my nails. And so, it just, I won't go into detail, but it's it happens to me in most marathons. So I've got 2 nails I reckon I'll lose from this one.
Oh, God, that does sound very painful. Now, were there any other marathon women out on the run this morning, or do you think you might have been the lone one getting out there for a shuffle?
I reckon there'll be a couple that get out for a bit of a shuffle. I actually met my coach and some of the oldies that he's staying with, and we shuffled around the cemetery on campus here at
beautiful.
the uni. So it was I don't usually run with them, but the day after a marathon is the only time I can get away with.
That's the pace, the oldie shuffle
that.
pace.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I met them at the walk. They would have been beyond excited for you to rock up to the run this morning. The race itself, talk us through it. It was pretty warm yesterday morning. If you missed the marathon, Sarah's come away with an incredible 14th place finish. Just walk us through the day and walk us through the race. Sort of how did it pan out for you?
So, I've been over now in the States for almost 2 weeks, and so, there's preparations and boxes to tick in those last couple of weeks, but the last few days was very much waiting for the race for race day. And so then it arrives and you're kind of like, okay, this is it. And I was pretty, the temperature wasn't too bad, it was probably low teens. The sun was out, which I was concerned about the direct sunlight and that sort of warming up a little bit, but it wasn't, it could have been a lot warmer, so it wasn't too bad. I didn't have sunglasses on, and that the sun in my eyes annoys me more.
Yeah, was it beaming back?
Yeah. But I didn't run in my sunnies in the end. But the race, we went out and there was a nice pack that formed early on, and we were I was sitting in that pack for probably the first 25 kilometres or so, and there's I don't know, I actually don't know how many girls there were, but I think it was more than 10.
Yeah, it was quite big. I would say 8 to 10.
Yeah. So we just there was a bit of toing and froing among the group sort of during that time, but I was going into the drink bottle stations, and because Australia's at the front of the list, we were the first table, and so going into those tables had to be at the front of the pack to sort of not be interfered with when I got my bottle. And I was finding that as I was doing that, there was a bit more sort of I don't know what was happening behind me, but I think it was slowing the other girls down a little bit more than it was slowing me down. And so we went through that 25 kilometre station, and I was off the front, and I didn't sort of consciously make the choice to kick down or anything, but no one sort of was there when we got through the drink bottle station, and so I was like, oh well, I suppose this is it.
I'm at the front now.
And so from there it was the Canadian and the Bulgarian girl that caught back up or got back in front of me sort of around maybe around 30k or so, and I dropped off a little bit from them, but and the Canadian kept going, but I ended up catching the Bulgarian back, and then we caught up another runner who had dropped off the front pack, and came through for 14th.
What's the feeling how do you, I'm always curious for marathon runners, how do you compartmentalise these marathons when you get into it? Do you break it down into different 10k sections, or do you just go by the feel of the race? Sort of, how do you plan to get through the 42 kilometre distance?
Yeah, I reckon for this one it was about the laps. So first lap is kind of the tour lap. Just I didn't make an effort to really see the course, because I was like, that is the job of lap number 1. So that's the free lap. And then the second lap is just kind of you know, the race doesn't start till 30k in a marathon anyway, so it's just a matter of getting the miles done. And then in the third lap, you've got time to switch on. So, and I think there was a freeway that went over the track, and it was kind of roughly 7k on either side of that freeway.
Yeah.
And so I was able to use that, you know, to break each lap down into smaller sections. So you've only got another 3.5k out, and then you come, you know, back under the freeway, then you're on the other side, it's the shorter side. So just little things like that to try to sort of break it down. But like, I remember it was I was going through, it must have been around 34k, and I saw one of the leaders coming back through, and I was like, geez, I wish I was on the other side where it was saying 38k. But
is that just daunting? Do you look at that and go, oh my god, I'd trade anything to be at that 38k mark?
Yeah, you definitely do. You definitely do. And even like coming down the finishing chute, I was, you know, they had their signs up over the top saying 800 to go, 600 to go, and I'm just like, you know, it just seems like so far.
Yeah.
Just couldn't come quick enough. But I was finishing from the 200 meters to go, that extra 0.195. I was running down that finishing chute, and I could hear myself making noise out loud. I'm like, oh my god, you're really hurting. I was like, lucky the crowd's really loud, no one can hear you.
Well, it was booming. There's no chance no one can hear the internal thoughts. But you were talking about you sort of picked it up 25k, you found yourself at the front. You were about 4 minutes behind that 14th place finish in the end at the halfway mark. How do you flick that switch in the back half of this marathon? Like, you've come home like a steam train, you were close to doing the even split. Is that sort of something you thought about before the race, or just you found yourself in that position and you just kept going?
I think going into this marathon, like this is the third one that I've done in maybe 8 months or so. And I think the first one that I did, December last year, or the first recent one that I did, was kind of a surprise myself with my fitness and how I felt like I managed the distance. Like sometimes when you do a marathon, it's kind of, you know, the distance can come up and kick your ass.
Yeah.
But I felt like I was still in control of the distance. And then when I did Newcastle back in April, I was able to go a little bit quicker and push myself a little bit more. And so for this one going into it, I was kind of like, you've got no excuse. Like you have to, don't be scared of the distance. Like you've done it before. You need to back yourself that you can finish strong, and like even though you will be hurting, you've got to be able to like dig deep. And so there's been like a few people over the last couple of weeks that have sort of given me encouragement with a similar kind of sentiment, just about backing yourself, and you've got the work in your legs, and you know, you just have that confidence sort of thing. And so that's what I was trying to say to myself in that last lap, was around like you can do it, so you just have to do it. And that's the like no excuses sort of thing. It's in your legs, it's in your mind, and now's the time. Like it's not when you finish to look back and say I should have, I could have, whatever. Like, so
you walk away from yesterday with there's none of those thoughts. You go, I threw absolutely everything at that.
Yeah. Which I don't know how I could have done something different yesterday. It would have been great to have ducked under the 2:30.
I was going to say, you're 10 seconds away, or 11 seconds technically to get under.
Yeah.
Does that play on your mind at all, or are you just so relieved to run, well, first of all, a PB at a major championship as well?
Yeah.
Are you just so stoked to run that PB and come 14th?
Yeah.
So close.
Like, I would have loved to have gone under 2:30. I would have loved to have gone under 2:29:30, which is a qualifier. Like, I think as athletes, we're always kind of like, you want that little bit more, you want to find that little bit extra. But like, I walk away from yesterday just knowing that I gave it everything, and if that everything is 2:30 and 10 seconds, then I'll take it, and a 14th place. Like, I wasn't expecting 14th.
Well, I was going to say, so you've been to the World Champs before, obviously in Beijing. You've also gone to the Commonwealth Games. Do you draw on those experiences for this moment yesterday, and now you walk away 14th. What was your expectation, I suppose, coming into it then?
I reckon so. I sort of, like the World Champs that I did in Beijing 2015, I came 23rd in that. And there were more women on the start line, but I think more people pulled out because it was a hot marathon. Yeah. And so I was kind of going into this marathon, I think there were 48 on the start list, and I was ranked as one of the slowest. But, you know, the qualifying period for a marathon started last year, and so people can post a time, and that could have been ages ago, and you never know what's sort of gone down between then and now. And like with any race, like you put your foot on the start line, and anything can happen. So I was hoping I would get a top 20. That was kind of like my best case scenario. Yeah. And then in that last lap, there was one of the team coaches out and about. He was like, you're 17th, you know, try to get 16, you try to get 16.
Oh, so you had no idea?
I had no idea.
No idea where you were coming.
No, I had no idea. And I was like, oh, don't tell me, I don't want to know that, because now I've got to work harder.
Now I've got to think about it, I just want to ride this last lap.
Yeah, and so, so we caught a couple of people in that last lap, got to 14.
Well, you also sit, 14 might be your number, because you're still currently 14th on the all-time list for the marathon as well for Australia, which I'm not sure if you're aware of that.
Yeah, right.
What is it, like, now that you've finished race, obviously you seem so proud and so happy with it, but what does it mean, I guess, to be here? You only found out a month ago that you're going to be competing in Eugene. Is it just a surreal experience to be back at a major championship, or how does it feel to be here now?
I think that there's, it's a great honour to be able to put on the green and gold and to represent your country. I think, and I probably other events would say the same about their event, but I think there's an extra layer of pride when it comes to the marathon alumni. We've had great success over the years, and great athletes and great people that have represented Australia in the marathon, and so it's always an extra honour to be able to be in this event. We're in the green and gold, which is, I don't take lightly, and I was hoping that I would do, the marathon team, past, present and future, proud. So that was really good. But yeah, the occasion is, I've been pretty relaxed, I'm sort of pretty relaxed about it. It's really cool.
You seem quite relaxed.
Yeah. It's like, we have our meals provided. That's going to take a little while for me to adjust back to when I get home.
Back to meal prep.
But it's a really cool, I was really excited about coming to a World Championships on American soil. I thought that they would do a really good job, and they are, and to have it in Eugene and Tracktown, it's been
I imagine there's
special.
So much more to the distance runners as well. Obviously the history of pre and just the distance fraternity that's in Eugene.
Yeah.
That would be surreal. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, well, all like the tracks and trails and the stories and the history of the university and the athletics track and the people, it's been really cool just to sort of be
here. I believe, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're a teacher by trade. What do you teach? What years, or where are you teaching at?
Yeah, so I work at Caulfield Grammar School.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and I'm actually the deputy head of campus. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So do you think there were many students up watching you do the marathon?
Well, my race was 11:15 p.m. on the Monday night, and their first day was on Tuesday. So they, I think there were a few that stayed up and watched. But I hope they didn't use that as an excuse for being tired the next day.
You're right onto them already down the camera. How do you juggle, obviously working full time and married? Like, it's not an easy discipline. Like, you have to put in a lot of miles and kilometres. How do you juggle the both?
Yeah, I have early mornings and late nights, and have a lot of people that support me and help me make it happen. Yeah, it's just I think they complement each other though. Like the running and the just being active, sort of that's part of my lifestyle. It's not just an athlete thing. That's something that works for me. But yeah, I just over the years I've found it really important to have both things work alongside of each other. And whilst my view on balance is you don't necessarily achieve balance in a day, but you certainly can achieve balance over a period of time. And so whilst like the last month or so has been really skewed towards running and preparing for this, the next month or so, while I'm in recovery mode and running doesn't take up a lot of my time, then I can even up that balance and turn my attention back to my work stuff. But the school community have just been they've been really supportive of me for a number of years, and through the ups and downs, and so it's really nice to be able to share another high moment with them, because there's certainly been my share of lows, and they've been staff, students, families have been really, really good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I asked the women this question the other day, and they gave me such a great answer. But obviously in athletics, not just in Australia, there is a massive drop-off rate from girls and juniors then progressing onto women as seniors. You've done Australia So Proud, obviously, numerous times, and yesterday was the same. Is there any advice or anything that you would say to girls maybe on the precipice of that point of getting to the seniors now to keep pushing on and to be in a position like you are now?
Yeah, I was a athletics from under sevens, and
so you're a long time.
Yeah, I've been doing little aths, school athletics through to senior aths, and I was never going through school. I was never Sarah Klein's going to run for the country one day. I was never one of those people. I've just been a year after year, do the work, and then build upon where you're at to get better. And I would say to girls that are in that position at the moment, I would say that no one ever regretted persisting. So persist and stick at it, because even if you don't get to where you want to go, you won't have regrets and you won't have question marks over it. And I never wanted to get to the point in my career where I was watching an Olympics and was watching people that I used to compete against at school and being like, back in my day I used to beat them. I didn't want to be that person. I wanted to not leave any stone unturned and know if I could be one of those people. And so don't stop persisting. Bodies will change, priorities will change, and that's all okay, but you can do both. You can pursue your athletic goals and do all of those other things at the same time. But I would also say to young women who have transitioned through that is to keep being role models for our young girls. There's the saying, you can't be what you can't see. Well, there's more young women and athletes that are mums, that have careers, that do more than just one thing, and don't underestimate the impact that has on young people as well. So there's a couple of messages there.
Wow, I feel like I'm going to go for a run now. I feel very inspired. Sarah, you're an amazing role model for women in sport, and also the marathon fraternity, I'm sure, is incredibly proud of how you conduct yourself and how you went yesterday. Thank you so much for joining me here. And is there anything you're really keen to eat or do now that the competition? You said you've been shopping quite a bit, having the same problem. Is there anything now around Eugene where you're like, I'm done now, I can finally launch into it?
Eugene, there's not a lot going on in Eugene other than Tracktown. I'm going to go for a bit of a hike today with my family.
Go for a hike?
Yeah, I'm going to go for a hike. Yeah, there's you have to. It's huge.
I suppose. You got to get in the hills.
But I just really want to eat Ben & Jerry's ice cream.
Really?
There's no Ben & Jerry's in Eugene either.
Yeah, there isn't. We tried to find one the other night. You can't get it. Which is weird, because you'd think in America they'd be everywhere.
I know.
It's actually a rip. All right, we'll try and find some better ice cream for you at least. But thank you so much for joining us, Sarah, and enjoy the rest of Eugene.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for the chat.
Thank you.